Hello and welcome to this happy birthday MS Dhoni show. This is actually a celebration of the man. I mean, I have covered him practically from his first game, covered almost all of the major events, and I'm going to just take you backstage. I'm going to take you backstage to some of the very personal moments, some stuff that I have not been able to write, some stuff जो मैंने कभी लिखा नहीं है, लिखेंगे भी नहीं, क्योंकि उनके साथ जो बातचीत हुआ है आज सेलिब्रेशन की तरह आपको आपके साथ कुछ शेयर करेंगे. One of the greatest athletes, one of the greatest champions, captains that India has produced. As a white ball captain, I think he is the greatest. If you see his performances, there's no debate. MS Dhoni is the greatest white ball captain that India has produced. And if you talk to him at an interpersonal level, you will understand how deep the man thinks. So this is actually a tribute. This is actually a tribute and a celebration on his birthday for MS Dhoni. So that's what it is, this show. And I'm going to tell you a lot of stories. If you are an MS Dhoni fan, if you are a supporter, if you appreciate that man, I think this is your show because I'm going to tell you a lot of stories about MS Dhoni over the next 25-30 minutes. But before that, I'll take you back to that MS Dhoni favorite song, which I'd actually asked him to sing during this event that we had done together. The last one that we've done together after that COVID happened to the world. And we had a great time. I'm going to tell you about that particular day as well. So first, Ashish, if you could play that song, please. This Pal Do Pal Ka Shayar. I mean, this is the song that obviously it's very close to MS's heart. And this was a great program to do. We spoke for about an hour and a half. And now I'm going to take you backstage. After the program, and I got him to sing, he said, "Mera gala kharab hai, thoda sa zukham hai." I said, "Doesn't matter. Sing for the audience." And he sang that song. And then it was in Delhi in a hotel. I was actually sitting in the lobby doing some paperwork, and I had a flight to catch in the evening. So MS was going up to his room. He saw me in the lobby after the program. I finished it and sort of gone and sat in the lobby and was about to leave for the airport around 3:30 odd in the afternoon. This was about 1 hour. And he was going up to his room. He saw me there and he said, "Kya kar rahe ho?" And I'm like, "मुझे ये थोड़ा सा काम है. इसके बाद I'll have lunch and then I'll leave for the airport. मेरा 5:30 बजे का flight है." So he said, "नहीं, रूम में आइए, एक साथ खाना खाते हैं." I said, "नहीं, आप जाइए because you finished the program from morning. You've been shooting for this particular brand and you go to your room. I'll manage." He said, "नहीं, एक साथ खाना खाएंगे, आइए ना, एक साथ खाना खाएंगे. I mean, come. So it's very sweet of him, very nice of him. And I said, "Of course, चलिए आते हैं." And the two of us went to his room. And obviously, I mean, if you get MS Dhoni to open up, I entered the room, and this was fascinating. I entered the room, and he straight went, sat down on the sofa, took out his iPad, switched it on, and started flipping. Believe me, exactly what like this it was happening. And there was his manager Mahi also in the room, so there was one person there. So MS started flipping the photos, and by curiosity, मैंने उनसे पूछा, "आप क्या देख रहे हैं?" He said, "आइए बैठिए." So we sat together, and he started showing me these photographs. Completely wild green, a hilltop kind of place. MS Dhoni is lying, sort of on his back, resting, and it was actually a hilltop, and completely in the midst of nature. So I said, "ये कहाँ है और कब है?" And he said to me, आप लोग सब जानते हो as media that I went to this army camp after the World Cup. But I had not gone once, but I had gone twice. And I'm like, "अच्छा." So he said, "हाँ, मैं 2 बार गया." And this was the second time which people don't know about. And these photographs are the photographs from that camp. You know why I go to the army? Because when I jump off from the helicopter, it is not MS Dhoni who is jumping. It is just a number. Every soldier who has to jump, and you cannot even delay for 1 second, Because every soldier who's jumping is a number, everyone has a responsibility, no one's a star. MS Dhoni is not a star in that helicopter as part of that army camp. And I spent time in this army camp out in the open. We slept here and he started showing me the photographs. We slept here, we did this, we trained for combat. And every time he was talking about it, there was a glint in his eye. It was fascinating to me. It's absolutely fascinating to me. And automatically, and I said, so you are trying to tell me that, in that army flight, when you were jumping off, obviously you're not an MS Dhoni, you're a soldier, and everyone's equal. So was army an escape from this whole madness that we do with you? That every moment of your life you're under public scrutiny. You are the MS Dhoni who we celebrate. And instantly the talk went to that World Cup. And, in a moment, he sort of hardened up. He hardened up. And he said, oh, only if I died. And I didn't get it. I said, what? Kya kaha aapne? And he said, when Martin Guptill had that ball, and he threw it, MS said, always, MS has prided himself on being a very good runner between the wickets. He said, even when he was throwing the ball, I was confident of making it. Midway, I realized it was getting tight. And the thought for a second, a fleeting second, not even a second because you know how fast these things happen, was, should I dive? And then he said to me that, what, for the entire career of mine, I have hardly dived. I have always been able to run because I'm that fast between wickets. So I did not dive. Now the point is, had I dived, that 1 inch or 1.5 inches, which I was short, I would have made up. And of course it was a freakish throw from Martin Guptill and came and hit the wickets. And he said the moment it did, he knew he was out. And when the thing, he said, he was emotional because he had calibrated the whole run chase in his mind. And I'm going to tell you about it. He said, while I was walking out, I had tears in my eye. And the whole thing was, it started with a run out. It has ended with a run out. And that's what I called my piece. That an imperfect end for the perfect finisher. He was as close to perfect finishing as we will perhaps ever see. But even that man had an imperfect end in his career. That's why sport is so cruel. And I asked him, अभी आपने कहा मेरे को कि आपने कैलिब्रेट कर लिया था रन चेस, थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताइए. He said, देखिए मैं और जडेजा जब बैटिंग कर रहे थे, हम लोग 5 ओवर पहले का सोच रहे थे और मैं जडेजा के लिए भी सोच रहा था. मैं कैलकुलेट कर रहा था, मैं कैलिब्रेट कर रहा था कि हम कहाँ होना चाहिए, इंडिया कहाँ होना चाहिए 5 overs from now. And we were sort of making those little targets and meeting them. And he said, when it came to the penultimate over, he said, in my mind, I knew that New Zealand had exhausted their options and they had to go to Jimmy Neesham for that final over. He said, just like आप लोग सोच रहे हो कि महेंद्र सिंह धोनी को 16 या 18 रन बनाना है, जिमी नीशम भी सोच रहा होगा कि वो महेंद्र सिंह धोनी को डाल रहा है. महेंद्र सिंह धोनी जो बड़ा शॉट खेलने में माहिर है, जो बड़ा शॉट खेल सकता है. एंड उसने इन द पास्ट ऐसे मैच इंडिया के लिए बहुत बार निकाला है, जिताया है. सो जिमी नीशम वुड ऑल्सो बी फीलिंग द प्रेशर just like I would be feeling the pressure. And it was fascinating to hear what he was telling me. He said, if I would have completed that second run, all I needed was to keep it to 16-18 and 2 big hits. Out of 6 balls, I would have gone for 2 big hits. Manchester, smallish ground. I was already in, I was set. 2 biggish hits would have set it up for India. And Jimmy Neesham would also be under pressure in the very same manner. In the very same manner. And that was fascinating for me. And when he was saying all of this, if you saw in his eyes, you would have known this man had clearly calibrated the run chase in his mind. He had clearly calibrated the ranches. He was playing for Jaddu, he was thinking for Jaddu, and in his mind he had worked it out that this is how India will go about it before that freakish throw of Martin Guptill upset everything. It was an incredibly interesting conversation. Then I asked him, "Aap kheloge? Aap next T20 ke liye kheloge?" And he said to me, at that point in time, this is pre-COVID, he said to me, "मैंने नया equipments घर के लिए मंगाया है. I will start training and then I will see where my body is with the IPL." Unfortunately, with the onset of COVID, Mahendra Singh Dhoni did not get that opportunity. And then obviously he retired last year, like all of us do. All of us know. So it was actually an imperfect end for the perfect finisher, but the memories that he has given us, stellar. Now let me take you back to the 2011 World Cup, his highest ever moment. That shot obviously has been analyzed for 1 million hours on television, for 1 million hours. And let me tell you what the kind of stories that I was getting. Gary Kirsten, for example. Gary Kirsten has repeatedly said this about MS2, that when the wicket fell, I mean, they had discussed it. And MS, because there was Yuvraj Singh, who was the best player for India in that World Cup, there was enough and more batting to come. It was MS who had not scored much runs right through the World Cup. Nothing of consequence. If you actually see MS's scores in the first game against Bangladesh, he did not need to. In the second game against England, nothing much. If you see Ireland, if you just take a look at the Indian games, even in the game against Pakistan in Mohali, so MS had not contributed much at all right through the World Cup. So for someone who was under that level of pressure to pick up the bat, walk out to the middle at the Wankhede when 1 billion people were watching, was an incredibly tough call. Incredibly tough call. And that's what it was all about. And then to stay on and finish it off. Gautam played a stellar innings. Perhaps we do not celebrate Gautam Gambhir's innings enough. And I give Gautam enormous amount of credit to have played that innings of 97. Actually turned the game. And then for MS to stay on and close that. Now let me tell you what Sachin and Viru were doing. Sachin was inside in that Wankhede dressing room and Viru was with him. Now both of them could hear that MS was going great guns, India was getting close. And Viru at one point told the monsieur that Paji so gaye hain, chalo bahar jaake match dekhte hain and India will win. And Sachin told Viru, you are going nowhere. Let MS finish the game. You will be able to watch this game 1 million times on television. Abhi tum yahan se kahin nahi ja rahe ho. All we want is we will pray for MS. We will pray for MS, let him finish that game and win that trophy for India. What a fairy tale it was. Again, if I take you to the Champions Trophy, I mean, in the backstage was match fixing, IPL, all of that. And to be able to beat England in that match, that amazing over from Ishan, and then to close out with Ravichandran Ashwin. That was one of the highest moments. I mean, that is the last time that India has won an ICC trophy. Hopefully we will win this T20 under Virat. But that was the last time that we won. It was an incredible moment for Indian cricket. Some good, some bad as well. 2011, that test series against England, India had lost 0-4. I remember MS and I bumped into each other in the Lord's, just next to the Lord's long room. There was some reception going on. And, you know, both of us were there. And I asked him, so kya karoge? Captaincy chhod doge? India had lost 0-4. And he said to me, देखिए, जब मैं grow up कर रहा था, तब से मैं I'm an army fan. जब आप soldier होते हो, तो आप battlefield छोड़ के भागते नहीं, छोड़ेंगे, लड़ाई करेंगे. Love that attitude. He is definitely not the greatest test cricket captain that India has produced. No question. We've got to be realistic. 0-4 in England, 0-4 in Australia. But the attitude was, छोड़ के नहीं जाए. And that attitude I like. बिकॉज मैंने उनसे सीधा सवाल पूछा था एंड उनका आंसर भी यही था. Since then, obviously, we have gotten to know each other personally, and there is a degree of camaraderie, obviously, respect, and that's what I like. That is the story I was telling you when we were talking about that Martin Guptill moment. And each of the players who I have spoken to about Mahi, be it Virat, be it Rohit, be it Ravi, the kind of respect you will get for this man was quite terrific. Sachin, for example, if you go and ask Sachin, Sachin was one of the early people who recommended Mahi for captaincy. And I asked him what stood out about Mahi. And he says both of us would field in the slips. And we would constantly talk about every ball, after every ball, about multiple different things, field placings. And he understood that this man's game reading is fascinating, it's fantastic. And because of this amazing game reading of this man, Sachin realized that first, as wicketkeeper, he has that vantage point standing right behind the stumps, getting a 360-degree view of the field. And then, if he is able to read the game like this, he is the perfect candidate to captain India. His game reading, Mahendra Singh Dhoni's game reading, presence of mind, whether it is that Bangladesh match in the World T20, running and sort of getting that run out, that one-run win for India. And there are multiple such examples. His game reading and his presence of mind is fantastic. And as Kumar Sangakkara constantly says, that at his peak, he had the fastest hands behind the stumps in world cricket. Clearly, as Virendra Sehwag has tweeted today, a once-in-a-generation cricketer. Absolutely a once-in-a-generation cricketer, a small-town superhero who has ignited that belief that everybody can. There is no question that you have to come from a particular background or from somewhere to make it into a superhero. So that's also Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who we celebrate on his birthday. One more story before I start to take questions. And this is again, something very important. Think of the amount of pressure that MS has played with, and think of how he has been able to deflect pressure. If you are able to deal with pressure, I mean, obviously when we call him Captain Cool, Captain Calm and all, come on, you are playing a World Cup semi-final, final for India. There is no debate that you will feel the pressure. Whether you are able to soak the pressure in and absorb the pressure, and how you deal with pressure is what makes the cult of MS Dhoni. That's what we celebrate. The cult of MS Dhoni, to be able to deal with pressure in the manner that he did, has contributed to the growing cult of MS Dhoni. And we will see him this year IPL. See how Chennai Super Kings changed it around. Last year was one of the worst for Chennai Super Kings, and we know that. This time, we were seeing them getting it right, be it Suresh Raina, Sam Curran, Dwayne Bravo was not there, Faf du Plessis started to perform, Ruturaj Gaikwad started to perform. That is the other ability of MS, to be able to back his players. Last year, even Ruturaj Gaikwad obviously had COVID, then came back. Towards the end, he did not junk any of the players. If you see the Chennai Super Kings lineup, picked a Moeen Ali, who was a rockstar performer in the abandoned or rather postponed IPL, picked a handful of players, and all of a sudden Chennai Super Kings looked a different team. The very same guys, whether it is a Deepak Chahar, whether it is a Ruturaj Gaikwad, they started delivering for MS Dhoni. This is his ability to get the best out of his men. So that's the captain MS Dhoni in the white ball format. And yes, this is a problem. We have all said this, he should bat 4. We want to see him bat 4, but somehow he bats lower down for whatever reason. But we would want to see more of MS Dhoni, because those hits, yes, he's not the same MS Dhoni with the bat. No one can be. But there's still that zing which is there after he plays a few balls. And that's what we will want to see for one final time, maybe come the IPL around September 19th, 20th in Dubai. Let me take questions on MS's birthday. Dhoni is a failure in overseas tests. I've already said that. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, white ball captain, Shoilen Mulli. and I think that's what I'm celebrating here. Maybe you have been successful in everything that you have done in your life. You have not failed anywhere. So maybe that's something that you are, special. All of us have failed. I prefer to look at the glass half full, and that's what Mahendra Singh Dhoni has been able to give India. Whether it's the 2007 World T20, the 2011 or the 2013, that's what Mahendra Singh Dhoni has been able to give. Shoaib Malik, maybe, yes, overseas tests, like I said, 0 for England, 0 for Australia, wasn't the greatest. But if you look at the other side and his contribution, I think it's one of the greatest, or perhaps the greatest, that India will ever see. So I would appreciate maybe a little bit more sensitivity on your part, and whether I do exercise or not, why don't you leave it to me? If you do, it's better for you. Try it out. Okay. Avanindra Mondal, I don't know who you are. You want to criticize everybody in the world. Good on you. Good on you. Clearly, you're an idiot. That we all know. So, if you want to criticize MS Dhoni, go for it. Just try and contribute a little bit of what MS Dhoni has done to India. Prathamesh Tiwari, MS Dhoni was... No one can be Prathamesh Tiwari to be at the top for the same amount of time. From 2004-5 to 2020, the longevity was, is something that one has to appreciate. And even as a wicket-keeper batsman, I don't think Rishabh was ready then. As a wicket-keeper, MS's contribution was very, very important. Whether to guide the bowlers, to be able to set fields, to be able to help Virat. In the dressing room, MS was supremely important. And I also think that he should have batted up in that semi-final against New Zealand. Why Gautam Gambhir hates MSD? I don't think hates is the word. There can be disagreements, but there is obviously mutual respect, because the two of them guided India to one of India's greatest ever moments. Not everybody needs to be friends, Shitesh Kumar Panda. Not everybody needs to be friends. In a high-performance sport where 11 high performers are playing and participating together, everyone will have an ego, and not everyone needs to be friends. I've told you about Gary Kirsten's story. After that Mohali semi-final in 2011, Gary was actually in his hotel having breakfast when I met him. And I said, what a team you've created. You think, and he said to me, you think all of them are friends? And I said, what do you mean? He said, look, all I want is when the final catch goes up, whoever is under the ball should take it for India. Whether what one does in his personal time or not, I don't care. That's the whole point. I mean, a team sport, not everyone needs to be friends. Austin, guys, please don't criticize Dhoni today. No, they have the right to criticize. They have done everything in their life, Austin, which is all very successful. Unfortunately, MS has had some blips, so they let them criticize. Only MS has been able to win 1.3 billion hearts multiple times in his life. One of the great, most loved athletes in the history of this country will always be. So let them criticize. That's fine. Harsh Shukla, wow, Dhoni, absolutely. What a line, Boria sir, imperfect end to a perfect finisher. That's what it is, Gohar Jahan. If you see, that's what it was. I mean, and when he was telling me, my thought was how sport can be really cruel. And that's what it was. Prathamesh Tiwari, 50 of 81 was unacceptable. Maybe unacceptable to you. It was not unacceptable to the team or to us, people who understand a little bit of sport. Maybe you understand a lot more. It was unacceptable to you. That's fine. No problem. Does Dhoni destroy, whatever you're asking, some stupid question, there's no point in this. Priyanshu Bardhan, Dhoni is and will be GOAT. Of course he will be. I mean, there is no question. There is no question that he is a GOAT. I mean, he's one of the greatest that India has ever seen, rather the world has ever seen. There's no debate. 2000 Aritram Dhor, 2013 CT final was magic. Absolutely was. Absolutely was. The strike rate of Pant and Hardik was 50 in the World Cup semi-final. People criticized MS. Harshit, Pant was not ready. That all of a sudden picking Pant in, Pant was not ready. Hardik failed in the semi-final. As I said to you, I've given you guys a glimpse into MS's mindset. He was calibrating. And according to me, had he not been freakishly run out, he would have won that match, because it was his mind. And for me, the mind of MS Dhoni was what that was a revolution. And I loved the way he had calibrated it. This is not a comparison. Prathamesh Tiwari, this is not a comparison between MS and Virat and Sachin and Saurav. This is not a comparison. MS is a great, perhaps the greatest white ball captain that India has seen or will ever see. Yes, we know that in test match cricket, the statistics you are talking about, I've forever said that. But there's no question he's one of the greatest and has given this country enormous joy. So let's not get into this, he's the best, so and so is the best. It's not about that. This show is not about that. This is not a 1+2. This is about MS Dhoni, and we are celebrating MS Dhoni on his birthday. And no one can take away from the fact that he's the only one who has won us 3 ICC trophies. Okay. Yeah, don't spam, please. Please don't spam. There's no point you guys spamming. And Virat Hatao, etc. This is not a show to say Virat Hatao. I absolutely do not believe in it, and let me make it very clear. There's no question of Virat Hatao. Anybody who says that is a fool. Why domestic is a competition of international players, whatever that means, I didn't understand that. Will Dhoni carry on playing after his second phase of the IPL? Difficult with MS. I mean, all of a sudden you will know on Independence Day it's enough. Pal do pal ka shayar hoon. It's impossible to tell about MS. But I think he will transition into some form of role at Chennai Super Kings. I do see him definitely going for another year, and maybe he will transition into a mentor or a coaching role going forward. Astute tactician as MSD, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. He's an astute tactician. Devdutt's birthday. Wish you a very, very good career, Devdutt. Absolutely wish you a very good career. What you've shown us in white ball cricket has been astounding. Hopefully you will be able to do that in red ball cricket as well. You've got tremendous amount of talent. So hopefully you'll be able to do it for us. And also on that note, we should give you a couple of news points. And we pay our respect to Keshav Dutt, the last survivor of the 1948 and 1952 Indian hockey team, the last surviving member. So we pay our respects to Keshav Dutt on our show on Sports Today. Keshav Dutt passed away along with Dilip Kumar Saab today. So we've lost 2 of our legends on one day. So that's what the story is. We've lost 2 legends in one day. Coming back to MS, I will finish off this show with this statement. He has given me, as a sports analyst, historian, fan, writer, enormous amount of joy. Has angered me at times during the test matches, has frustrated me, but there's no question he's moved all of us. He will be the greatest white ball captain that India has seen. Tactician, no question. His demeanors to finish off games. And I will always cherish the personal time that I've spent with MS. Loved the conversations. Wishing MS a very happy birthday, a healthy birthday, and waiting to see you back on the park come the IPL on the 20th of September. Tomorrow, another special. It's Saurav Ganguly's birthday. So a special on Saurav Ganguly tomorrow on Sports Today. Watch this space because he's a personal favorite. All of you know, very, very dear friend. A special on Saurav Ganguly tomorrow. Untold stories, unknown stories on Sports Today. Celebrating another great, perhaps one of the greatest captains that India will ever see, Saurav Ganguly. For today, wishing MS another time. Happy birthday. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for watching. Keep supporting Sports Today.
पल दो पल मेरी कहानी है, पल दो पल मेरी हस्ती है, पल दो पल मेरी